Welcome to the ninth edition of the Klown Hour podcast. I'm Scott Burst, your host. Hello. And this is my co-host, Dwayne Nash. Check him out on the yard / HBCU Sports, basketball, all things I can't point right. HBCU Sports, as well as Sleazy Radio, aka SLZE Radio, every Tuesday night on Facebook Live. Check him, the coach, and Sweet Lou out. You'd be glad you did. As well as herosports.com, who writes about all things FCS athletics as it pertains to HBCUs. You see the website here for me, The Klown Times, www.theklowntimes.net. And if you see my man, my guest, y'all see him in the past, dude. It's merch. CafePress.com.
Get that merch.
Search for the Klown Times Sports. The address, the link will be in the description once I upload this to YouTube tomorrow. You can find it there as well as the Wayne's websites I mentioned earlier. You'll find them there as well. And one last thing, please like, subscribe, and comment. We're up to over 260 subscribers now.
I'm talking about.
So, it's cool. So continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share, because we'll be glad that you did. Trust me. You'll be hooking your boys up if you do that. Okay. So we're going to get to, you see my guest, I mentioned him earlier. You see him at the bottom. He's back with the Outcast, and it's all his Outcast / Boondocks glory. My frat brother, my ace, my LB, Andre Edwards is back in the house. What's going on, sir?
What's up, boys?
What up? All right.
What's going on?
Let's do this. But you know what? As glad as we are to have you on tonight, and I know you had a town last week, but I wish we would have had you on last week, because the college football playoff rankings had its first rankings last week. So Dwayne and I, we were pretty much bitching all the hell about the rankings.
Yeah. Y'all didn't want that. Look here, y'all didn't want that smoke. I thought, look, I was like, well, we were bitching back and forth about it. I'm thinking, God damn, we need this man's thunder, because I know that he had a whole lot to say. So in lieu of you were on your vacation doing last week, we want to give you time to express thoughts. So your thoughts. So when you first saw those rankings, and you saw University of Cincinnati, like with 2 wins of a Power 5s on the road on this resume, as well as the latter being for those who saw the game, a domination of top 10 team in Notre Dame, who's going to be a over 10-win team this year. Okay, so with all that on the resume, they put them where? Number 6. And just far enough away for you not to be relevant, but close enough for us to say, but we threw you a little bone, guys. You're the highest ranked group of 5 team we've ever put in there. Doesn't that make you feel great? Huh? Good for you. Now go on about your business. Get out of my face, son.
Right. And, yeah, exactly. Because again, as I mentioned, I didn't have obviously no one in the mama had a problem with Georgia being number 1. I think we all agree that Georgia is Georgia and everybody else. Yeah. I don't give a damn about Alabama. Alabama, if there were bad coaching away from losing to LSU last week. Orgeron lost that game for LSU last week. Going for a 4th down, when they were 4th and goal, I think from the 9, they were down 20-14 with over 5 minutes left in the ball game. If I recall correctly, kick a field goal.
Yep.
You were within 3. Your defense
has been shutting down Alabama all day.
Yes. And they would have been down 3, and there would have been less pressure. It'd be about driving down the field to at least kick a field goal and send the ball to overtime, put more pressure on the Crimson Tide. Instead, Orgeron decided to go for it on 4th down and go from the 9 with more than enough time left on the clock to get the 3 points and then stay within striking distance. And that was ball game.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I said
it wasn't just the fact that it was bad play call. Mm-hmm. Didn't they lose yardage on that play too?
Yes, they did.
See, that's what really set them up. Because you know what? Oh my God, the influence of Ron Rivera being here in DC kind of is rubbed off of me a little bit. So I understand that.
Riverboat Ron.
You know, and this demand has been coming up short here in DC for the past 2 seasons, but that's another conversation for another day. But I understood the attempt. And like you said, with the way LSU's defense have been playing, you put Alabama on a short field, you go ahead and probably force them to a 3-and-out, hopefully, right? And then they go ahead, punt the ball, give you back another short field, and you have another attempt at going for another touchdown in that moment. So I understood the attempt, but you can't lose yardage in that situation.
Correct.
And not the amount of yardage that they lost. So yeah, in
it got Alabama out of bad field position.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah,
exactly. So I understood it from a gambling standpoint because, of course, you're unranked LSU playing against number 2 Alabama.
Yes.
Why not? Why take it safe? You know, because we lose.
Right.
You know, if we gamble and win, oh my God, that's the best thing ever.
And I get that.
So I understood the gamble.
Yeah.
But my God, this Bama was playing 21 blackjack, had like 8 and thought he was doing something. I'm like, you can't lose yardage in that situation though. Yeah. But yeah, I get it though.
And so basically, to your point, D, almost outside of Georgia, the top, 6 or 7 play shitty. Let's just be real. UC included. I mean, we were talking about UC. I mean, you play in a 3-win Tulsa squad for homecoming.
Yes.
You came within 2
college game day.
College game day was in the house.
Here,
give y'all show y'all some love. Well-deserved love. You come within 2 4th down stops.
Yes.
Of losing. That's crazy. So, which I guess is I don't want to call it blessing, because again, almost all the teams outside of Georgia play shitty in their wins.
Yes.
Ohio State barely beat Nebraska, a terrible Nebraska squad. We're going to talk about Alabama and LSU. Oregon just squeaking by a more awful Washington squad. Yeah. Okay. And of course, we know that Michigan State got curb stomped at Purdue.
At Purdue, yeah. I'll say this though, real quick. Last week was a wacky week in Division I football as a whole, from FCS and FBS. Sure. So if you survived last week, you're in the land of the living.
Right. Correct.
I applaud you. There was a lot of.
I was getting messages from cats who were like, "Oh man, your boys didn't do what they needed to do. Your boys didn't do what they needed to do." I said, you know what? They did better than Michigan State did.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, you're going to penalize me for a close loss, then you better really penalize them for getting their behinds whooped.
Right. And they didn't really penalize, because if you notice, they dropped from 3. I mean, they did, but not as much as I thought. They dropped them from 3 to 7?
6,
6
or 7.
There. Yeah. Because they put them behind Michigan.
Right.
And they beat Michigan.
Yes.
But they looked so bad, they put them behind Michigan.
Yeah.
Even though Michigan State got the head they had. But I'll say this, man. And this goes back to last week, but we won't have to worry about it going forward, because I was going to mention this earlier. We talked a little off camera about the disrespect they showed the American Conference, but the real disrespect to me, and I say this as a fan of this conference, a group in that part of the country, is where how they evaluate the ACC. Wake Forest, before this past weekend when they lost at Carolina, Wake Forest was ranked 8th originally. So we all know that Wake Forest did not have really any quality wins outside. Maybe Virginia was the only quality win on their schedule. But they put those jokers at 8. Y'all were sitting at 6.
Yes.
So basically,
they were setting it up so that if it comes down to an undefeated Wake Forest and an undefeated Cincinnati, the precedent is set that they've never left out an undefeated Power 5.
Power 5, exactly.
So Wake Forest is getting in.
And they underscored it by ranking 2 other teams in the ACC that last week were not ranked in the AP nor the college football coaches poll.
Yes.
And NC State and Pitt.
The most egregious part of the ranking system is not necessarily 1 through 10. It's 15 through 25, because that's how you guarantee who's going to be in the top 4.
Right.
If you tell me that Ohio State is in the top 4, I'm like, okay, that's fine. I want to know who they got 15 to 25 because it's Purdue, it's
Wisconsin,
it's all these other teams that Ohio State has the opportunity to play so that they can then say, hey, we have quality wins on our resume.
Yes.
We beat 4 top 25 teams. UC only beat 1, therefore we deserve to be ahead of them, right? And when you look at a team like Houston, I think Houston's like 7-1, 8-1.
Yeah.
When you look at a team like SMU, I think they're
two losses.
They just lost their second game, but that was to Houston, right?
Right.
So when we're talking last week, you had 2 7-1 teams that are ranked in the top 25 in the AP and the coaches poll, but you don't rank them in the top 25 because if you did, and it came down to Oklahoma, Wake Forest, and UC beats 2 more top 25 schools, plus they got a top 10 win on their resume, you can't help but put UC in the Final Four, right?
Right.
But if you give Oklahoma a few more shots, if you give Ohio State a few more shots, if you rank a bunch of SEC schools up in there, okay, cool. Now we can just basically squeeze UC out because they don't have any other opportunities to make an impact.
Right. So that's why I was mentioning Wake Forest, because if you for those of you who know, this past Saturday, Wake blew a big lead against UNC. So what if Wake were to hang on and not blow a lead against UNC? They still be obviously they'll still be undefeated. They would have moved up, given what happened to Michigan State, they would have moved up. So you basically, if UC was placed at 5 this week, and looking how far Michigan State fell, and they were Wake was also ahead of Oklahoma, believe it or not. So if Oklahoma was sitting at 8 this week, Wake would have been at least 7. So you still send up the scenario that if Wake were to be now, even though now the AP put NC State and Pitt back in. So Wake is literally plays NC State at home this week. So if they were still undefeated, watch this now. If they're still undefeated, if they were to beat NC State this week, they would have had a top, not only a top 25, but a top 20 win. Because NC State's like, I think they're 16th now. So you could have had a damn near a winner of a top 15 squad. And then if Clemson keeps winning, they play Clemson later on this year as well. They're in the same division. If Clemson keeps winning, I got them to you, they would have put Clemson in next week at 24 or some shit like that.
Yes.
And so
because why not, right?
That's where the manipulation of the system comes in.
Yeah.
Again, the press and the reaction is in the top 5, 6, 7. That's where all the hype goes.
Right.
But the manipulation of the system is 15 through 25.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
easily.
And so basically, again, it's still set up a little bit for Wake is 12th, but with all most of the teams that above them going to be playing each other, it still may set up for them. They're one last squad. They still have a chance based upon where they sit. So that's why I mentioned Clemson. If Clemson plays somebody, they should annihilate this week. So they'll probably be back in. Pitt was probably going to win the Coastal Division. And so, long story short, if Wake makes it to the championship game, which is going to be odd, Wake and Pitt in the ACC title game. But anyway,
so weird.
If this college football season's been weird anyway. So if Wake were to play Pitt as a ranked Pitt team, they could say if they were to beat Carolina last week, they could say we beat a top 15 squad in NC State.
Yep.
We'd be in the top 25, possibly in Clemson the following week.
Yep.
And we beat probably going to be the top 20 team in Pitt for the league championship game.
Yep.
That's 3 ranked squads ahead of the one that UC did a number on in Notre Dame.
Correct.
It's
precedent is said that they've never left out an undefeated Power 5 school.
Yes.
So we just kept with tradition and felt like that was the best move.
Right. So
and then you let Wake Forest in as the 4. They get mollywopped by Alabama or by Georgia as the 1, and nobody says boo. But let UC be the 4 seed and get manhandled by Georgia, and everybody be like, see, that's why the group of 5 doesn't need a shot in here. That's why they like go back and look at the last college playoffs that we've had over the last 5 years.
Most of them been blowouts.
Straight up curb stomps.
Most of them been blowouts.
I mean, dude, there are probably more blowouts than there are really close games, right?
That's true.
But you want to say don't give UC a shot because they're just gonna get blown out. So does Notre Dame every year. So does Oklahoma every year. Y'all invite them back every time.
Remember Michigan State got blown out. Remember Washington got blown out. Clemson got blown out by LSU, and then Ohio State the following year.
Yeah,
it happens.
It happens.
It fucking happens.
But I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I'm gonna go ahead and put this on tape now, right? Because I don't know if I said it before, but I'm gonna say it now. There's going to be a undefeated Power 5 team left out of the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
It's possible.
I mean, we all know who this is. Oklahoma. Stop playing.
Yeah.
And the way that everything is set up.
You think they'll go undefeated? I mean, like
they play at Baylor this week.
Yo, they keep dodging these bullets. I don't know how.
They're in the matrix.
This is the opportunity for it to happen. Yo, they say Neo win this the whole season long. I don't know how they do it, but they doing it. But yeah, this is the opportunity for it to happen. If it doesn't happen, the way the committee has been doing things, unless something drastic happens and Oklahoma somehow shoots up to 5 or 4, I got a strange feeling they're going to get left out and be the first Power 5 conference team to do so. And let's be real, as of right now, the committee doesn't look at the Big 12 as a Power 5 conference.
No, they don't. And they're just setting it up for the future after Texas and
Oklahoma
leave. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't help that Oklahoma beat West Virginia at home on the walk-off field goal. It didn't help that they came within an interception of losing to Tulsa. First week of the season, they're blowing that big lead. It didn't help that they barely beat Texas, came behind and beat Texas, and fell behind 10-0 at halftime to Kansas. It didn't help.
Yeah, their resume is like a recent college graduate. It is unimpressive.
Correct.
Just is.
Yes.
Right.
You know, it doesn't say that they don't have potential, but as of right now, it is highly unimpressive. And I don't see it getting any better anytime soon. Unless they beat Baylor this week, but then they have to do it in impressive fashion. Something they haven't been able to do to lesser teams this entire season, which is why everything that you guys have already talked about with the stacking of the the SEC and Big Ten teams, not just in the top 10, but in the top 25 is alluding to at least 2, if not 3 or more getting into the playoffs right now.
Yep.
Right.
100%.
So
100%.
We're talking about Oklahoma, right? Oklahoma has to go to Baylor and go to Oklahoma State. They're going to lose. If it's not this week, it's going to be the Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's pretty damn good. So, so I think out of the way, the Big 12 probably will be counted out. So it comes down to me, and I know this is only the second week. I get it, y'all. It's only the second week of the college football playoff, but I think this ain't over. I think it's going to be more upsets. I think that given that Oregon has been all that impressive, they're primed to be knocked off soon.
Yep.
I think that Ohio State has to play Michigan State and Michigan. I know they're on Michigan.
And Purdue.
And possibly Purdue. Yes.
Yeah.
So, So so wait a minute, do they play Purdue in the regular season?
Purdue.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So there you go. So again, it's going to be it ain't over. As long as if you UC, just do what Luke Fickle said earlier this week. As long as y'all keep playing, y'all keep winning.
Just keep winning.
You can't control what you can't control. Just keep
winning. Yep.
Stop fucking around with these lesser teams and just keep winning. Because
so I think that's a good conversation to have.
Mm-hmm.
I think when the level of expectation is you're supposed to blow these teams out, and you start pressing, then you start trying to do stuff that is probably outside of your comfort zone and what you normally do, right? And you let teams hang around because you just like, we got to get up, we got to score here, we need another score, and you're just putting so much pressure. It's just human nature, right? Like everything you've heard is, if y'all not blowing people out, you don't deserve to be here.
Sure.
Okay, well, we gotta blow people out. Then
style
we gotta
points.
blow people out. And style points matter, and this, that, and the other, whatever. But you just, and we're talking about that level of pressure on 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids, man. And it's just human nature to push and to press and to get yourself in a situation where you're like, how do we get here again? We got to survive. Okay, just win. Oh my God, we're gonna. You're just kind of freaking out a little bit,
right?
So I think for them, if they can come out, I think they play Friday.
Yeah, they play South Florida.
They can come out and get a solid, strong win where you get a let's call it 20-point win. It kind of just brings the whole anxiety level down a bit. Like, okay, cool. All right, we know we're good. We got a couple of at least one first rounder on defense, maybe two.
Yeah.
We got we got a top 3 or 4 round quarterback. Like we got some pieces, man. And we know who we are. Let's play like we know how to play. Go ahead and win these games and let the chips fall where they may.
And they have to be careful too, because they play after this week. They host SMU.
Yeah,
SMU's pretty good, y'all.
And SMU's legit.
Yeah, and so I mean, you would know it because they're not in the college football playoff rankings, but the coaches know, the AP voters know. So the point is that going back to what happened this past week with Tulsa. You said yourself, game day was here. Game day was here. They're giving UC a lot of love. You had Nick Lachey, the celebrity picker, right? And Cincinnati's own Nick Lachey, by the way, West Sider. And he, you imagine as a kid on this football team, you believe in your own press as well. I mean, it's like, I'm not making excuses for these young men, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
You're hyped.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be kicking this team's ass. You press. You gonna get up to it because these are kids. Yeah. So, you see it. I mean, you saw it with Alabama. They almost lost LSU. I mean, conference play shit happens.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? In conference play, it's because they know you. So at any rate, as long as UC keeps winning out and just let everything else fall where they may. Again, it ain't over. I still see movement in the top 4 easily, given.
I agree.
Except for maybe Georgia.
Yeah.
I think Alabama has to go to Auburn.
Yes.
So
that ain't easy.
Yeah, exactly. So if you're Auburn, you saw your arch rival struggle with LSU. You saw them struggle against Florida. You saw them lose to Texas A&M. They're not invincible. You hate those boys too.
Yep.
So should be a lot of fun.
Get it on.
It should be a lot of fun. So it ain't over. But again, I didn't have a bigger problem this week as it did last week.
Yeah.
Actually, I was surprised that it was UC up.
You and me both.
I was surprised they moved up.
I think that was the difference between last week and this week.
Last
week I was mad at what they did. This week I was surprised that they didn't leave them at 6 or even have the nerve to drop them to 7 just because of how close that game was.
Right. I totally agree.
But it's tough to do that when Michigan State loses.
Yeah.
Yes.
That helped us.
That helped a lot. That helped a whole hell of a lot. So thank you, Purdue, right? So anyway, and Purdue has a chance to fuck some more people up this
yes,
season.
They do.
So they're the ultimate spoilers this year.
I'm a big Boilermaker fan.
There you go. First, they took out Wisconsin on the road. They cursed off on the road. Then they Was it? Yeah. And then it'd be Iowa. Excuse me.
Iowa.
They spanked Iowa. That's what they did. They spanked Iowa, and then they took out Michigan State. They get Ohio State.
Just get Ohio State. I'm like, I'm buying the Purdue Boilermaker jersey. I'm buying the Boilermaker jersey, son.
Oh my goodness!
It would be fitting. It is black and gold, but
there you go.
Hello.
Black and old gold.
I thought I'd help out with that a little bit. Yeah, I thought I'd go ahead and give. I go ahead and I'd Ron Strickland that one for you. I'll go ahead and give you the assist.
Well, speaking of professionals, let's move to the NFL. After y'all's big win, man, and we're gonna go over, but after y'all's big win, Dre, over Baltimore, I'm thinking, holy shit. As like the offensive line played well. Y'all already got the skill position players, are all young. The defense has been playing outstanding. I'm thinking, well, shit. At that point, they were the top seed at that point in the AFC. So I'm thinking, holy shit. Now I'm waiting for all my Bengals fan brethren, if you will, many of whom crossed the burning sands of Alpha with me. Many of them pledged us. But a funny thing happened. They lose to the Jets. They blew a lead against the Jets, as we all know.
11 points with 7.5 minutes left to go in the game.
Exactly. But then to make matters worse, what y'all see as an arch rival, the Cleveland Browns, comes into town, the Battle of Ohio. Then
Let me back up to that Jets.
Okay, go ahead.
That Jets just for a second.
Okay.
Let me tell you the odds on the Bengals losing that game to the Jets. The odds were 74-1. You know how I know that? Because in the previous 74 games, when the Bengals led by double digits in the fourth quarter, they won.
Wow.
That's the one time. One time.
I can believe it. A backup quarterback did y'all in. That's what stunned me.
And again, it's so hard to overcome a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter of football games. It just is, man.
Right.
Like, on any level, yes.
Because you got to give the other team the ball back. Like, you can score, great, but then I have the opportunity to do it, right? And, yeah, I was angry. I was just angry. Anyway, go ahead. Finish.
No worries. But with Cleveland coming in this week, here, Paul Brown Stadium.
Oh yeah,
and the turmoil. Oh my God, God bless you. I'm gonna ask you about the in a moment, but in the turmoil of Odell Beckham Jr. leaving. Okay, well later on leaving. I thought y'all were gonna show out. I thought, okay, this Browns team is distracted, and I thought that y'all were gonna get right, and it looked like it. That first drive. You get at the goal line, damn near at the goal line. It was the out route.
Joey.
He threw that ball out where he was behind. And then one thing, for anyone who knows anything about football, if you throw an out route, the out routes are very hard to complete as it is. Covered. If you're either late or you're underthrown.
Inside,
it's over. Not only is it pick, it's a pick six because it's an out, which means
nobody else is over there but you.
Nobody else is over there but you.
Nobody else over there.
Right. Yep. But the wide receiver you stole the ball from, and you got a head start over him.
Yep.
And that's what happened. Denzel Ward took it back, man. Was it 98 yards?
99.
99. Shit. 99 yards. And it was downhill ever since. I mean, you guys came back and answered that, but then Cleveland just said, okay, enough of this.
The wheels fell off, man.
Yeah. So you were there at the game. You mentioned that at the game. So talk about, like, how the fuck did y'all go from being the toast of the AFC, really the toast of the NFL, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
And it's understandable, albeit against the Jets, but young team trying to handle success for the first time.
Yeah.
But going home against your arch rivals, which is a very tough AFC North, by the way.
Yes, it is.
And then lose the way y'all did to the Browns. So give me your thoughts on that as far as you being there and what the hell happened.
The best part of the whole game was I was sitting in a box with a lawyer friend of mine, and they had free alcohol. So That's the best part of the whole game. Best part of the whole game. That and the really cool Hilo flyover they had at the beginning. That was pretty dope too. Yeah, man, that's about it. I don't even know what to say. Well, let me start with this. I think the OBJ piece for Cleveland was probably addition by subtraction.
Sure.
Right. We might have saw it as an opportunity for the team to be not focused and distracted and whatever. I think they were like, good, get that clown out of here. Like, cool. Now we can go back to just being us. 2, Baker Mayfield, for whatever reason, plays like Johnny Unitas whenever he plays the Bengals. He's now, I want to say 6-1 versus the Bengals.
Oh, wow. Okay.
3-0 versus Burrow. And I mean, like, again, when he walks into PBS, he's like, cool, I feel great. I'm good. Let's go. And I think the Bengals won that first drive, like you said, went through Cleveland's defense like it was Swiss cheese, right? All the way down. Burrow throws the pick. They run it back. But even at that, it was, all right, cool. Don't worry about it. Let's shake this off. Come on back. And they drove right down the field again. Like, I don't know what happened between those first 2 drives and the rest of the game, but it was almost like they were like, okay, that works really well, fellas. Let's not do any of that ever again.
Oh, my.
It was just bizarre. Also, it was Murphy's Law. Like, anything that could go wrong went wrong, right? Your 2 best, maybe mixing in there too, but like your 2 best players on offense, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase so far this season, right? I mean, everybody's been really happy with the production that they give. Right. You have a pick 6 by Burrow, and then you have Jamar Chase fumble the ball in his own, like, I think it was like inside his own 30 on a ball that was hit, knocked out, boom, recover it, and they go right down and score again. So it's just everything that could go wrong went absolutely terribly wrong. You had a special teams gaffe. It was just a hot mess. And I think at a certain point in time, they were just like, we don't know what the hell's going on. Okay, we're out. I got nothing. And it was over.
Yeah. So you guys got to buy this week, right? So who you guys get get
Vegas.
After the buy? Who?
Vegas.
Oh, that's why. Yeah, you go to the Raiders. Wow, another tough one. So this is how, man. If you're in the AFC North, this is how life is for you this season. Your division is probably the toughest in football.
Everybody has a winning record.
Exactly. Yeah. So everyone before the season, including yours truly, thought that the NFC West was going to be the toughest. Boy, was I wrong with that. So it's basically not only the AFC North is the toughest, is one of the toughest. You play as far as your division rotation in the same conference. And probably the next toughest division is the AFC West.
AFC West. Yep.
It's tough. It's equally as tough as the AFC North. So if you win out of those divisions, you're beyond battle tested. You're beyond battle tested.
Yep.
I mean, golly. I mean, shit. The Vegas is good. Chargers are good.
Kansas City can be.
Yeah, Kansas City still.
Denver messes around and beats people that they have no business beating.
Yeah.
I mean, Denver. I mean, shit. You feel that number they put on Dallas?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was glorious.
Yes.
That was glorious.
I love it.
Not glorious.
You should have seen me, man.
I love it.
I think I told you, Dre, but Dwayne knows this. I know too many goddamn Cowboy fans.
I think we all do.
I do. And, you know, the part that hurts the most is that a lot of my college friends, close college friends, are Cowboys fans. I don't know
My
why. I
dad
don't know
is a
how
Cowboys
it happens.
fan. They can't hurt no worse than that.
Exactly. So I get to hear from these cats year in and year out before the wheels eventually fall off. Now,
Right.
I don't know if they're going to fall off this year because the division is shitty to high heaven.
Scott, it's going to fall off.
I wish you. I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
My thing is this, right? Because we all know the end game is to do what? Get into the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
It's coming. That train ain't never late. That train ain't never late. It's coming. The thing is when, right? And I'm anticipating. That's why I right now I've gotten to the point, I've said it before here on the show. That's probably like this every place else in America right now, wherever somebody's watching this. There are a lot of Cowboy fans here. A lot, right? And of course they get a little mouthy. And I just do this now. That trains are coming. It ain't been late for over 25 years. Man, oh man, when is that train coming? Because I know one thing, that train ain't making that destination that y'all hope is going to make. But it'll be here soon enough. The tick tock.
Oh man.
So yeah, I mean they everyone within the NFC East has a very weak schedule as is because they play against one another.
Right.
And as of right now, they're most definitely head and shoulders above the rest of the division.
Correct.
But because they came in third place, they also got a third place schedule. This is a team that is expected to be, first place every year because they have a makeup in that organization to be a first place team. It just happens to be that certain units just don't play well for whatever reason. In each individual year. It just happens to be that the teams they've been playing so far this year have been cupcakes and they've been feasting on said cupcakes. Denver was a cupcake they thought they were going to eat until they choked on that. The thing is, once they start playing the toughest part of the schedule for them, which I think is coming up within the next couple of weeks, and then after that they got the division again, we'll wait and see exactly how everything pans out. And then when they make the playoffs, because let's be real, they'll win the division. But when they make the playoffs, what time is that train coming? Because they are not avoiding Tampa Bay. They are. I don't know if they got enough to beat Green Bay. As much as I hate on Joe Barry, the defensive coordinator, that defense don't look like the defensive that's been having plays called by Joe Barry, and I'm surprised by it. The Saints could be surprisers. Anybody else within the NFC,
Rams
have the ability to beat these teams.
Cardinals.
God, the Rams
and the Cardinals.
And the Cardinals.
Yeah.
They all have the ability to beat Dallas. They haven't really played any. No, wait a minute. Who did they beat? Did the Cowboys have one big win this year? I'm trying to remember because I can't.
Did they beat the Chargers?
They did.
I think they beat the Chargers. I think they beat the Chargers.
But a Cowboy fan is going to remind me because I'm spewing all of this hate right now. But like I said before, with the plethora of quality teams that are in the NFC with them, when they make it to the playoffs, I doubt very seriously that they are the NFC representative in the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, they beat the Chargers.
They beat the Chargers.
They beat the Chargers.
So that train coming. It's just a matter of when. And I like the whole excuse of, well, at least we made the playoffs. You know what? You didn't win the Super Bowl, Wayne. So if your hand looked like this at the end of the season, you're a loser just like me. It don't matter when you get eliminated. It's the fact that you've been eliminated. Yeah, so that's all I'm concerned.
You sit on the couch like I am.
Exactly.
Oh, on the COVID couch. So speaking of Green Bay, okay, Green Bay's talent. Of course, Green Bay's talent. Of course, I pull for them when they pay the Cowboys. But how about the line-ass quarterback, Aaron Rodgers?
The Lion King.
Just thought that we were idiots by saying I'm immunized. I'm immunized. I'm not vaccinated. I'm immunized.
But you know what? I blame the media that was there I blame the media that was there that day because they weren't focused on the fact of what he said. Right. What they heard him say though, which is a lie, they asked him if he was vaccinated. He said yes. I'm immunized.
Mhm.
Right.
So had they been paying attention to that last part,
Semantics, man.
Yeah.
exactly.
Had you been like, wait, excuse me, can you clarify? I asked if you were vaccinated. You said you're immunized. Is there a difference between those two?
They should have just double checked. They let that thing go by, and that's why we're here 3 months later. Because I'm like, yo, he clearly said it in the interview that yes, I'm immunized.
Right.
So yeah, he lied, but he didn't fully lie. He man lied. He man lied.
Not that he didn't say immunized, just say immunized. He says, I'm immunized. In my profile, I'm immunized. There you go.
Oh, but
I'm like, God, and he didn't get. They gave him a light fine, and the team a light fine. The team knew he wasn't immunized and violated all those protocols. They gave him a $200,000 fine.
CeeDee Lamb's jersey was untucked. They fined that man $20,000. Aaron Rodgers put people's health at risk by lying to their faces and got fined $14,000.
Yes.
Less than the jersey. Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Right? For something that the NFL made perfectly clear.
Yes.
After they lost all that money last season through the COVID. They made it perfectly clear what's will and what will not take place. Now, people were hating on what's his name? Kirk Cousins and the quarterback at Indianapolis, what's his name? Used to be in Philly.
Oh, Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz and Cole Beasley in Buffalo saying that they're not getting vaccinated. But you know what? Two things. A, they were honest.
Yep.
And B, what do? They wear masks.
Yes.
Around the facility.
Yes.
Again, because they're and people shit on Kyrie Irving. Guess what? He was honest.
He was honest.
He's weird though.
He's weird, but he's honest. He's weird, but he's honest. But for Aaron to say that, I mean, come on, dude.
Yeah, like you're to me, it's intentional.
Mm-hmm.
It's without regard for others, not only just in society, but like on your team. Like these dudes talk about going to war. They talk about being with your brothers. They talk about, football is family. Mm-hmm. All of these things that, really bring that bond together and really make teams work. You just lied to my face, man.
Yeah.
Repeatedly. So I'm thinking, okay, look, I'm unvaccinated, but I'm gonna go ahead and take the precautions that I need to take. I'm gonna wear a mask. I'm gonna do the things, and other people who don't want to be vaccinated are gonna do the same things. Great. I'm sitting in a room with Aaron Rodgers, who's unvaccinated and just
not wearing any mask
shit everywhere and whatever he wants to do.
Yeah.
I'm like, how is that brotherhood? How is that looking out for me? How is that any concern whatsoever about any of us on this team? Right. When we're talking bigger bodied dudes, we're talking offensive and defensive linemen who, while they may be in really good shape in general, they're still heavy men. And if you look at heart issues, weight issues, like those things are exacerbated when you have COVID, right? COVID is exacerbated by having those pieces added into it.
Right.
Why would you put me at risk?
Right.
Why would you do that?
Right.
I
agree with you. I totally agree with you. You preach to the choir, brother. But hey, this is what it is. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has Green Bay by the balls after what he did in the offseason.
Yep.
And poor Jordan Love. I mean, he had a rough first outing against Kansas City. Yeah, I know. And and Aaron Rodgers knows it.
Yep.
Yeah.
He knows they ain't shit without him.
He didn't know that during the summer, right? When he was doing this whole trade me thing, and he was doing this complaining. And remember the analogy I used of, okay, he's married to this organization, but that just happens to be a handsome man, but you just don't know exactly how good that handsome man is. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you can go ahead and float around with that banner if you want. You'll find out exactly how bad he is when you already had a good thing with you.
Right.
And you know that you're a good thing, and she knows that you're a good thing too. So if you allow him to leave, you just allow a good thing to walk. Right. Now they know he's a good thing, and you know that Bama bad now. Mm-hmm. So now you know you have to keep him around. But all of the things that has gone on so far within the past week or so with Aaron Rodgers, the most egregious is the fact that he misquoted MLK. My God. Okay, he brought up the woke mob and being caught in the
cancel culture.
The cancel culture, which is why I'm like, you know what? We need to go ahead. And I'm sorry to say, but when certain people start to get a hold of certain slang, at that point in time, it's time to go ahead and get rid of it.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily a race thing. It's more so an understanding thing.
Yeah.
And when you continually use a term incorrectly, yeah, it's time for us to go ahead and just destroy that term and move on.
It's the epitome for him to bring up MLK.
Yes.
In the context of him not being persecuted for lying. If that's not white privilege, run amok, I don't know what the hell is. Outside of January 6th.
The privilege.
Outside of what happened on January 6th. If that's not the epitome of white privilege, then that's yeah. I mean, yeah.
But he invoked him and quoted him incorrectly.
Right.
And did it with such a straight face, like, yeah. He basically did the Boondocks joint, to be painfully honest, to quote Sister Soldier, an injustice everywhere is an injustice everywhere. Let's go ahead and say that, Aaron. It would have been funny, and I would have gotten the joke. But yo, this ain't no joke. The fact that he misquoted him and did it with a straight face, like he was really doing something, man, just makes it even worse for me. And then the fact that the NFL just gave the Packers and Aaron Rodgers a slap on the wrist, just makes it even more laughable, dude.
Yeah.
We want to talk and preach player safety, player safety, player safety. It's all about player safety. Is it? Yeah. Because y'all saw Jordan Love. Jordan Love is terrible. Don't nobody want to watch Jordan Love. People want to watch Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers versus Russell Wilson, that's going to be a game people want to watch. That's going to bring in money. That's going to bring in revenue. That's what people want to see.
It's
that's
hypocrisy.
Why, hey, we're going to find you $300,000 team. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're going to find Aaron Rodgers $14,000. Okay. What does that do?
It's a slap on the wrist, especially for the team.
It's just dumb.
That's why if they really want to hurt an NFL team and make it stick and make them as an example, you don't hurt them in the pocketbook. You hurt their lifeblood. That's the draft, folks.
Yes.
Yeah.
You hurt them take away draft picks.
Yes. And not a seventh rounder. Not a fifth rounder.
Go to the second and third.
We're talking right to the top.
Okay.
You dropping that first round draft pick. Again, we're talking egregious.
Yes.
I'm not talking slap on y'all did something stupid. No, but I'm talking egregious. If you really, really want to make a difference, hey, you thought you had number 5 this year and you had your eyes set on that new franchise quarterback. Nah, y'all not getting number 5 this year. Actually, that's out the door. Go. Right?
Yeah.
To keep people more on the straight and narrow, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where you hurt teams. If you want to make an example, hurt the lifeblood. Don't hurt the pocketbook. They're all rich.
Yeah.
Hurt the lifeblood.
Get him in the $14,000. This dude don't get haircuts.
Right.
He don't.
Right.
So I know he's saving money there. Where else is he saving money? He don't dress fly. Well, I'm not gonna say don't dress fly. He doesn't buy expensive clothing. Yeah. So with him not buying expensive clothing, he's not like your average athlete that spends money in terms of his appearance. So yeah, he's saving a lot of dough. 14 G's ain't.
And he's got endorsements out the wazoo. Like $14,000 means nothing.
Right.
Oh, speaking of, State Farm, we did a discount double check joke earlier. They refuse to drop them. They just aren't airing the commercials as much. So once this thing starts to clear up, they're going to start
put it back out there
again.
Yeah. Because we want to see Aaron Rodgers.
We'll just play Pat Mahomes a few more times. It'll be fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there you go. It's just crazy. But we'll close the segment out on a more lighter note. HBCU Sports. It's coming down the stretch in football.
Yeah. Go away.
And one thing I'm learning, the SWAC is probably the most pettiest fan bases out there.
Lord Jesus.
I'm part of a Facebook group called SWAC Sports something. I'm about to pull it up right now. It is hilarious. It makes me laugh. I mean, it puts me in a good mood when I had a shitty day. SWAC Sports Central. Those guys and gals are so petty, especially FAMU fans. They're hilarious. If anything, having FAMU in the SWAC, it's hilarious. It's entertaining, it's petty, and it's just down. It's not nasty, it's just petty. The funny petty. So Dwayne, I know you have some news about upcoming games and the possibility of a SWAC team or two possibly qualifying for the FCS playoffs because they're doing so well. So I'll just let you bless us some knowledge, and we'll go and talk our shit along the way. So.
All right, so let's go ahead and start with the beginning. Well, before we even get into football, hooray, college basketball season started yesterday. So
that's correct.
You know, there's a lot of basketball.
We love college basketball too.
Yeah, so what makes it even interesting that I bring that up, right? So everyone's talking about Duke and everyone's talking about the last ride, I guess, if you will, of Coach K and the fact that they went out there and they beat Kentucky last night.
They did.
But what people don't know is Miles College, Division II Miles College gave Kentucky a run a couple of days ago, losing by 9, 71-80.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they kept them, they played them tough the entire game. So I don't know if that's a barometer on how good Miles is or how early it is for Kentucky. Either way, I don't care.
Right.
A Division II HBCU from the SWAC played what do they call it? They're not Power 5 and a major
blue blood.
Yeah, blue blood.
A blue blood.
Yeah,
extremely well.
Yeah.
And only losing by 9. So big ups to them. But since it is football season and we're coming to the end of the football season, you know, it's 2 more weeks left. Well, God, technically about 4. Well, no, it's about 2 to 3, depending upon MEAC is last 2 weeks. Same thing for Big South. The SWAC, they have another game like around Thanksgiving as well. So, you know, there's a slightly extended and, of course, a championship game that first week in December. But the races for the respective conference championships are underway as well. Well, not underway, but we're starting to, the picture's getting clear right now. In the MEAC, whoever wins out between South Carolina State and Norfolk State, not oddly enough, but both teams end up having to play one another at the end of the season. So whoever ends up winning out will end up being the representative for the MEAC in the Celebration Bowl.
Correct.
What is oddly enough, and hopefully one day they end up getting rid of this. So Commissioner Stills, if you're listening, they need to go ahead and just do a championship game for football. They threatened to do it in the spring before everything broke apart and they only had 3 teams playing, which eventually ended up leading to 2 teams playing. But they talked about it in the spring, only to not do it in the fall. And a lot of people laughed at me when I said, hey, they should do a championship game this fall. Why? They only got 6 teams. You want to know why? I mean, yes, they have tiebreakers and rules to go ahead and clear up the situation. But there is a chance for a 3-way tie out of 6 teams in the MEAC between South Carolina State, Norfolk State, and North Carolina Central. With North Carolina Central's big upset win last week of Norfolk State, that now gives Norfolk State an L. And if Norfolk State can beat South Carolina State, who is currently undefeated, that gives them an L, which gives all 3 of them a share of the title. But Norfolk State will be the team that moves on and advances to the Celebration Bowl. But Central gets to walk away and say that they are champion of the year. So, yeah, you got 3 champions in a 6-team league. Yeah, that's laughable.
The triumph.
But I digress.
Yeah.
And of course, the best way to solve that is to go ahead and have a championship game where you only have 1 true champion, and it is what it is. Moving on, as we're talking about champions and title hopes, as of right now, in the SWAC, Jackson State and Prairie View A&M, respectively in the East and West divisions, are both undefeated in conference play. They control their own postseason fate.
They're both ranked
too. Destiny. What's that?
And they're both ranked too.
And they're both ranked. Now, depending upon which ranking you like to use, I like using the coaches, you know, but they're both ranked in the FCS stats top 25, with Prairie View coming in at I think 24 and Jackson State at 16. Oh, no, 17, I'm sorry. So, yeah, they're both ranked in the top 25 in the FCS stats. The thing is, though, of course, they both need to win out. Actually, no, Jackson State just needs to win this week, and they win the division for the first time since 2013. Prairie View, they have to win out, but it would be great if they can go ahead and win. God, no, if they win this game this weekend, they get that much closer, because sitting in wait is Alcorn State and Florida A&M in the Western Division and Eastern Division respectively, that if they win out and can get a little help, they can end up winning the divisions. But with Florida A&M only having one loss, actually 2 losses throughout the entire year, one loss, actually, no, it's one, just to Jackson State.
Yeah, the conference, yeah.
Yeah, that's the only loss that they have all year. You know, they have an opportunity to be a 9-win team. The thing is, though, is that 9 wins enough for them to make it into the playoffs? There's been a lot of conversation about that throughout the entire year. It's starting to mount right now. Even Florida A&M's athletic director has even said that, you know, they would love to be considered for the playoffs. The question is whether or not their resume is good enough to do so. I will be explaining in not HBCU, but I'll be explaining in herosports.com why it is or why it isn't good enough for them to make it into the playoffs. So look for that article within the near future, but they do still have an opportunity to participate in the championship game if things fall their way and Jackson State somehow falls apart in the next 2 weeks, which I doubt very seriously. So with that said, Division II championship week, Bowie State and Fayetteville State will be competing in the CIAA championship, like I said last week, for the 3rd time in the past 3 seasons. Of course, 2020 season didn't happen. And in the SEAC, Albany State and Miles will be competing in that championship. Now, as it pertains to the Division II playoffs, Bowie State and Albany State should make the D2 playoffs. You know, they have 4 regions, and they usually take the 8 teams in all 4 regions to advance to the playoffs. And they're most definitely in the top 4 of Region 2. Okay. Now, Savannah State, who is currently ranked 8th, and they're 9th. They're 8th. Savannah State is currently ranked 8th. Fayetteville is ranked 10th, I think. If they can get some help, well, Fayetteville State, if they can win, they can thrust themselves into playoff contention. And Savannah State will need some help from the teams that are above them to lose in order for them to move up and get into the playoffs. Now, the big news of the week.
Drum roll.
I swear. Yes, I wish I did have a drum roll. I mean, it's been talked about so far in SWAC circles, most definitely. But there's been rumors of TCU, who has an opening with them getting rid of Gary Patterson, or who's going to be their next coach. There have been rumors on whether or not Deion Sanders will be considered, and they ended up wanting to set up an interview with Coach Prime, and said interview actually happened on Monday. So as of right now, they're looking at Deion Sanders as being a strong possibility to replace Gary Patterson at TCU. Now, this is a quote from a source. Matter of fact, it says, you know, Jackson State's head coach was interviewed with TCU on Monday, according to Fort Worth Star Telegram, and made a lasting impression with the organization. The Pro Football Hall of Famer and 2-time Super Bowl champion is expected to make the cut for a second interview.
Wow.
I'm not saying he's going to get the job. Not saying he's not the leading candidate at this point, said the source, but he is in the mix. He was impressive. Now, he has been out for the past 3 weeks dealing with a situation with his foot surgery and his health, where he had to sit out, get some rest, and he may have been on bed rest for a little bit there too. But it looks as though he's coming off of bed rest and could potentially be making a return soon to the sidelines. Now,
Wow.
Gary Harrell, who is the interim coach, let leak on Monday during the weekly press conference that he might be returning to the sidelines this Saturday. So there's a high possibility that that is the case. When he said it, I was like, oops, I don't think he meant to say that, player. But because, of course, they talk, he's the head coach, he's the interim, and of course, they talk about game plan from week to week. Right. So I don't think Deion would be there in the head coaching capacity, but he probably will be there to observe the game. So I will not be surprised if it's announced that he's at the game on Saturday. But I'm happy for Coach Harrell, who used to be a head coach here in DC at Howard, who I felt as though didn't get a proper opportunity to bring in quality players, because as soon as he started to bring them in, they finally fired him from his position. But now he got dogs at Jackson State. The question will be, if Deion decides to leave and take the TCU job, if it's offered to him, will he become the interim head coach? And then will all of that talent that is currently at JSU stay there? Or will they follow him to TCU? Because my guess would be is that Shador, his son, the starting quarterback, who's played exceptionally well this season.
Yes, he has.
And in my eyes, is clearly a Deacon Jones candidate for player of Black College Football Player of the Year this year. He's most definitely going with that. He's not staying at JSU if Dad goes. Yeah. So, it's going to be very interesting to see and follow this saga as it continues to play out throughout the rest of the fall.
That's crazy.
We only got 2 more weeks left in regular season and then the championship game. And then, of course, the Celebration Bowl. I can only imagine the type of questions Coach Sanders will start to receive once he starts making himself available again to the media.
See, it's crazy to me because I heard that rumor. I didn't know because I always assume that, again, you do one thing when you assume, right?
Exactly, right.
But
I'm with you on that.
But I was always assumed that the only job he would leave Jackson State for would be to go home.
That's what I thought too.
To Florida State. Because eventually, I think Mike Norvell's going to get one more year, the coach of Florida State. I think he's going to get only one more year. And if they still stuck in the muck and mire, I think Deion has a clear path to Florida State. If he keeps putting in work, recruiting, and balling out at Jackson State. I think Florida State's been looking at him for the past year. How he recruited. Dude had the 55th highest recruiting class in the nation. Across all levels of Division I. The 55th highest. That's unheard of.
Right.
Let alone from HBCU, from the SWAC, but still, 55th highest.
Highest, yeah.
He's bringing it
honestly, I think it's a good move by Deion, even if he doesn't take the TCU gig. It gets him that next level of recognition. It gets him that interview experience.
Yes.
You get some feedback as to, look, don't take for granted that you're going to get the Florida State job just because you went to Florida State.
Right?
Gotcha. Come in and present yourself as not only am I Florida State's favorite son, but I'm a damn good coach. I'm a damn good recruiter, and I can put this program back to where it needs to be, not just because my name is Deion, but because here are my credentials and here's what I can do.
Right.
I'll say this though, right? Because remember, he interviewed with Arkansas and with Florida State before taking the Jackson State job. The thing was, they said he interviewed well, especially with Arkansas. The thing was, he didn't have any coaching experience.
Right.
And I don't know if anybody in the ACC, especially in the SEC, that would hire a guy that had no collegiate experience whatsoever.
Correct.
So they were probably like, okay, he's a great hire, but we just can't take the chance right now of having him come into this conference and not succeeding. Right. Now, you do have a point though there, Dre, that it would be wonderful for him to go ahead and interview for this job so he can get more interviewing experience. Because, of course, like you said, the Florida State job is not a lock.
Right.
It's close to one, but it's not necessarily a lock. So, of course, it would be great for him to go ahead and have that under that belt. But again, he's also lived in Texas, spent several years there, especially once he retired. That's where his sons went to high school. He has great reach there in the state. But yeah, I was like you, Scott. I didn't believe that he would even consider the TCU job because of Florida State. Mm-hmm. But we wrong, right?
Yeah, we wrong.
And now they're looking at him as, because I don't even know who else is a candidate in that coaching pool right now other than Dion, which is interesting. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, and then how he plays out the remainder of the year, regardless if he leaves or not. It's the fact that people know that his foot is slowly creeping out of that door already.
Yeah.
It's not to say that we didn't think that it wouldn't be the case, because I sure did.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would be like that after year, because legit, it's still year one.
It's still year one.
He coached. He started coaching in February, March of 2021. So yes, this is his second season, but this is still year one for him. Right. And I didn't expect it to be this quick.
But I think to Scott's point, man, the fact that you can get the 55th ranked recruiting class in the country to go to Jackson State, imagine what you could do at TCU. Imagine what you could do at Florida State. Like,
imagine what you do at Florida State.
That speaks volumes, even over coaching chops, right? Mm-hmm. Sure. I'm not gonna hire you if you have no coaching experience whatsoever. No, I'm not gonna hire you because I don't know if you can get people to come here.
Mm-hmm. You know what?
You can get the right offensive coordinator and the right defensive coordinator to do the coaching. I don't know if people are going to come follow you, Dion. Oh, really? Well, let me go down here to Jackson State, where historically speaking, nobody comes to from we're ranking recruiting classes type of situation. And I'm going to bring you damn near a top 50 class coming to an all-black school. Now what you got to say?
Yep. And that's exactly what happened. Because they interviewed him before, like I said before he took the job at Jackson. So he never really had an opportunity to prove himself in the recruiting ranks. And when he did so with a smash. And yeah, everybody took notice when he did that. So yeah, like you said, you start talking about the likes of a TCU and being able to keep Texas talent home, or if he goes back to Florida State and is capable of keeping Florida talent there. Or, there was also discussion about him at USC. So wherever and if he's capable of keeping that California talent there, Lord Jesus. So it's just a matter of time of when, but the question is going to be where and how soon. Right. So yeah, I'm intrigued, but yeah, this interview has just cranked it up a notch. And like you said, Scott, the pettiness in these smack talk groups. Oh, everyone else in the SWAC can't wait for Dion to leave Jackson State. I saw a post earlier today of God, what is the name of that podcast? There was a podcast, of course, that covers SWAC football. I want to say it's God, I don't want to say it wrong because I don't want to mess up the young man's the name of his podcast, but he legit played Please Don't Go while referencing individual JSU fans by name that are in these groups. It was hilarious. So he's like calling these people out and he's like, please don't go. Oh my God. I was in tears listening to that podcast. I want to say it's the Offsides podcast.
Okay.
But yeah, let me see if I can find it. But yeah, they can't wait because of how mouthy. There it is. The Off Scripts. That's the name.
The Off Script. Okay.
The Off Scripts podcast.
Okay, gotcha.
He was naming individuals by name in these smack talk groups that have been talking nothing but trash about Jackson State all season. And these these SWAC fans are just waiting on the opportunity for Jackson State to return to being a 4-win team again.
Right.
If that ends up being the case, because success makes you mouthy, and I don't blame them. But just gotta be careful.
Ask Browns fans.
Exactly right. Oh my God, what is the quote about the fall? Humbleness comes with the fall, something like that.
Something like that. I don't know, but basically, they'll be in front runners. Pride comes before the fall.
Pride comes before the fall.
Right.
Pride comes before the fall, and yes, the pride is there, and they have a clear path. I don't necessarily see anyone in HBCU FCS football beating them right now. The only team that can beat them is them. So if they come out and they play a bad game, especially offensively, that's where I see them losing. But other than that, they have the chops to beat just about anybody on the FCS level.
Right. And that's the thing. So one more thing about Deion is we talked about him in Florida State, him having the interview, of course, with TCU. Again, I'm keeping my eye on Florida State. Again, for family reasons, I kept my eye on Florida State for years. So if Mike Norvell, again, if he doesn't get it together next season, I think he's gone.
Yeah.
And I honestly believe if Deion is still at, I think he's going to stay at Jackson State. If he's still at Jackson State, I think Florida State's going to make a run at him.
Oh, most definitely.
I think they're going to make a run. I think they're going to make a huge run at
him.
And if you're Deion, that's home.
Yeah.
That's home calling for you.
You know what?
How can you turn that down?
You know what could be done, right? Because this is something that could be done. It could be a situation where if Deion, and God, I don't like to speculate like this. I really hate speculating like this, but I hang around so many conspiracy theorists, it rubs off. So if Deion gets word from Florida State that if things start to go wrong down in Tallahassee, that he's most definitely going to be interviewed. He's clearly going to stay at Jackson State.
Yes.
And he could go ahead and play that off of TCU, especially if TCU hires an interim head coach for the fall with the looks of testing him out to see if it works out, especially if it's someone that's currently on staff. True. You can go ahead and promote someone up to the interim. Well, especially if whoever's interim now finishes the season out well, and Deion's like, nah, maybe not this year, maybe next year, they go ahead and potentially keep that interim title on that coach for the next year, and that dude doesn't coach well, Deion will have his pick at that point between two institutions, his current home or his original home. And that way he can play on both. But yeah, right now, Jackson State fans, it's going to be rough for the next, until he leaves. Y'all better ride this out now, because when it's over, I don't know what's going to be like afterwards, dude. Yo.
Drake Vince Carter.
Yeah, because, I love Coach Harrell. God, I don't want to see him back in a situation where he doesn't have the capabilities of bringing in talent into a program and he has to struggle again. I don't want to see that of my homie, man. I haven't spoken to or been around a coach on the HBCU ranks that I don't like. I haven't, but Coach Harrell is in that group that I really like. Him, Rob Milstead of Delaware State, Tyrone Wheatley of Morgan State. I don't know what it is about these guys that have losing records that I like so much, but they just happen to have a propensity of wanting to make men of the guys that they bring into their program, and they're always programmed first. It's not to say that these other guys aren't, because they are, but it's something about those three guys I just named that are huge standouts, and there's no disrespect to any other coach, because Coach Sanders is the same way. He's most definitely the same way. But, it's these other guys, man, they got to keep coaching through the losing and keep trying to convince their fan base that they're the best choice for this program. But, and they're the best choice for the men that are there, but they just aren't winning on the field.
Yeah. It's well said. It's well said. This remains to be seen what happens with Deion going forward. This will be very interesting in SWAC land, especially down in Jackson, Mississippi. So this is going to be interesting. On that note, let's call it, man.
Keep watching the petty in them groups.
Yes, that's where you mentioned the pettiness there. But we're going to close this, man, on a high note, man. Hey, thank you for tuning in to tonight's podcast. Thank you to my man, Andre Edwards, Mr. Cincinnati Sports himself, for coming in. Always a good time. Please check out Dwayne Nash's great work. As I mentioned earlier, the Yards, that's HBCU Sports, where rest about all things HBCU Sports. You see the website on this backdrop. Please check them out there. The link will be in the description as well as Sleazy Riddle on Tuesday nights, every Tuesday night on Facebook Live. And also HeroSports.com, reps for all things FCS athletics, contains HBCUs. Please continue to subscribe. Please comment, like, and share this shit. Even if you don't like what we said, I'm paying enough to go back at you. Dwayne's paying enough to go back at you. Just still comment. We enjoy the back and forth. So until next time, please stay safe. Please enjoy the weekend. Please enjoy college basketball. It's back. So until next time, we are out.